had the opportunity to learn. We've also had the opportunity to grow personally, even in our accounts. I'm sure that everyone has experienced value this month. So it's great to be here again. I'm really happy to be with all of us as we have another important conversation today about cryptocurrencies or digital currencies in general. Okay, so today's class is going to be a bit different, and I'll explain how how it will be different. One of the things we like to do with this class is to be sure that what we're teaching is aligned with what's going on in the broader market, so that you have that sense of orientation. You know what's going on in the market, and you can relate that to what you need to do today. Now, this is a special topic that we're going to go through today, and today we're going to look at what you can do when the crypto markets are not going anywhere. Now, what do I mean when I say the crypto markets aren't going anywhere? You wake up on Monday, and then it looks as if, oh wow, the crypto markets are rallying, and you jump in excitedly, and then maybe a day or two after that, it looks like everything has gone back the other way. And you say, oh wow, are we selling off? And then you wait, and then it looks like things have sold off again. And then after some time, you say, oh okay, looks like things are going up again, but the market just hasn't taken a direction. The last time we saw this kind of indecision was in July this year, but we all know how that turned out. Typically at the end of this kind of consolidation, you would expect an aggressive move to the upside. But the question really that you would ask yourself is, okay, so what can you do when the markets are not sure which direction they want to go? And that's what we're going to be looking at today. The other reason I think it makes sense for us to look at this time is if you're paying attention to social media, there are a lot of projects that that are popping up on a daily basis. So let me see if I can pull up one example that I saw, which I thought was funny, and let me just show you. Right, one of the reasons why you should not you should know how to use social media. Let me put it that way. Right, I think I've mentioned in class. Generally, when I hear in social media everybody saying, "Wow, the markets are going to the moon," I immediately look through my portfolio and I start selling things. Because I know, yes, people are getting too euphoric now. This is the time. This is the time for you to take profits. Let me see if I can find. Good. Okay. All right. So if you look at social media right now, you see that a lot of cryptocurrency projects are popping up on a daily basis. Let me show you one example. So if you can see my screen, Facebook recently changed their name from Facebook to Meta, and not too long after that, this group of individuals just showed up and decided to come up with a face Meta token. Actually, they've changed the name now. When this thing was first released, it was called Facebook Metaverse. And of course it had nothing to do with Facebook or the Metaverse for that matter. This was just somebody who decided to be intelligent, and what was trending now, Facebook, Metaverse, put the two of them together, created a cryptocurrency, and as you can see, right, people are buying it. You just need to be careful, because there's a lot of hype like this, being released in the market on a daily basis, right? So that you won't just go fall victim and say, okay, Bitcoin isn't going anywhere. Ethereum isn't going anywhere. So where should I put my money? Oh, say Facebook Meta token or whatever it is called, right? Let me jump in there and, it must have something to do with Facebook, right? Well, clearly it does not. So, well, the point is just stick to the principles that we've shared here. There are time-tested principles for how to do research. You need to check, who's behind the project, what is the use case for the project, what is the project trying to solve. And those are the things that you need to answer before you decide to get into any opportunity. Okay. All right. So let's come back to our topic today, and I'm going to use this to address a number of other things that we've considered in class prior to now. So you would want to pay attention, take some notes as I go through the material today and I show you some examples. Okay. So once again, what we're looking at today is what you can do when the crypto markets go nowhere. Now, to keep this simple, remember we've talked about 6 different ways that you can earn from cryptocurrencies. So I'm going to use an example from each of those 6 ways to show you things that you can still do even today when it looks like the markets haven't decided on a direction. All right. So if you're ready, let's kick this off. So give me a minute. All right. One of the first things you can do is accumulate projects that have long-term value. Okay. Sorry, I don't know why this thing isn't showing. Let's just go ahead. And I have this on full screen. Okay, you know what? Let me download this thing quickly as a PDF. Open it. I think it would be better for us that way. All right. Okay. So one of the first things you can do is accumulate projects that have long-term value. Okay. Now, what does that mean? We've talked about different types of cryptocurrencies in class, right? We know Bitcoin, the Bitcoins and the Ethereums of this world, we know that they have long-term value. Ethereum in particular, we've talked about the amount of innovation that it has led to. So we think about the whole decentralized finance space, lending, borrowing, yield farming, staking, a lot of those things, including NFTs. A lot of those technologies, or let's say applications, are possible because of Ethereum. Ethereum was the first cryptocurrency that introduced smart contracts. And that's what really enables all those other applications. So we know going forward, Ethereum has a very, very strong use case. Okay. So there's no way you can look at Ethereum now at, what is it, $3,800, and you will not consider that a discount. So if you have that extra bit of cash flow, Ethereum is a sensible project to accumulate for the long term because it has long-term value. Okay. Then we've talked about other layer ones. So remember when we first introduced the concept of layer 1 cryptocurrencies. These are cryptocurrencies that enable other cryptocurrencies to thrive, right? So things like Polygon. We've not talked about Solana too much in class, but it's something to be aware of. Luna, we have overflogged in class, and back when we talked about cryptocurrency airdrops, I did mention this is a cryptocurrency that I particularly am bullish on for the long term. Okay. Now, this cryptocurrency recently went over $100. I think it's pulled back to somewhere in the mid-80s now. It is still at a discount. So this is a cryptocurrency you want to accumulate for the long term. Even things like Polkadot, right? So what you want to do at this time, if you have that extra bit of cash flow, is just accumulate cryptocurrencies that have long-term value. Why? Because they will go up in price over the long term. That's why you want to accumulate these cryptocurrencies. Yes, like I said, I know we haven't talked too much about Solana in class so far, excuse me. But we will going into the new year, because there's a lot going on in the Solana ecosystem, especially around NFTs. There's also a lot going on in the Ethereum space around NFTs, but Ethereum, the gas fees are high. Solana, by comparison, gives you a lower entry point into the NFT space. So when we get into the new year, we'll talk about Solana and how you can take advantage of the NFT marketplaces on Solana. These are not the only projects that have long-term value, obviously. There's other things that we've talked about when we've introduced DeFi Llama in class. So the point is, know how to identify these projects, and these are the ones you should load up on, when the markets don't seem to be going anywhere. All right. So that's the first thing. The second one, and I'm going to spend a bit of time here to explain what this is about, is you need to maximize the rewards that you can get from staking. Okay. Now, we've talked about Wonderland and Olympus multiple times in class. Okay. And I want to use perhaps the next 5-10 minutes or so, to provide some perspective about Wonderland and Olympus, the way you should think about this project. And there's a number of points that I will make as we go through. Okay. First of all, I think one of the first things I want to say about this project is, I think when Olympus first came out, and that would be what, maybe March this year, thereabouts. It took a couple of months, and then Wonderland was the first major clone of Olympus. Okay. Now I know, based on feedback that for some of you who have reached out and we've had conversations, there are more than 200 clones of Wonderland and Olympus that exist today. Okay, and I know some of you have, quietly or gotten into some of those projects with mixed results, right? But there's a reason I didn't bring up any of all those other projects in class, because generally in the crypto space, the first few people who do something, right, they have the best chance of making it successful. Every other person who's coming after and is just copying the same concept, is very likely the other project is very likely going to fail or not do well. And that's what we've seen with very many of the other clones that exist out there. The developer behind Wonderland is very well known in the cryptocurrency space. He has a very strong reputation, has other projects that are already successful. So that's why I was confident enough to recommend Wonderland in class. Okay. But some of all these other projects that exist, I don't want to mention names here so that I don't send you off on a wild goose chase and you go looking at things that will hurt your portfolio. Now, I know some other people have told me, hey, engineer, yes, we heard what you said, but we happen to have entered Wonderland when it was very, very high. The price has dropped to somewhere in 3,000 range now. So what do we do? Well, remember what we said about how to manage your position in Wonderland. You need to divide. Think first of all about how much money you want to invest, and then break it up into 3 or 4 parts, right? When you do that, you can get in with your first position, and then you can get in subsequently when price drops. And the way you know when to get in is by looking at something called the technical floor for Wonderland. So let me just open the Wonderland website so that I'm saying this because I am still bullish on Wonderland, and the mathematics will show you why I'm still bullish on this project. Okay. Okay, so it's all a question now of how do you manage your positions. Okay. All right. So this is Wonderland over here. All right. APY is still about 70,000%. If you come to the dashboard, price is about 3,500. Okay. Now, see this number here called backing per time. This is the current technical floor for price. So technically, this is how low the price can go. All right. So what you need to note is if you're deciding to get into Wonderland, note your entry price and always note this price. Now note that this price will always change, right? It changes based on price. Excuse me. It changes based on price and some other factors. But you need to be aware that this is technically how low the price can go for this project. So you see this project still has greater than 70,000% APY. It's still a healthy project. So let me just use mathematics to illustrate how this project works so that you can have the right mindset when you're getting in. Remember, don't get in, even at this price, don't get in with all the money that you want to invest, right? Going with a portion of it. If it pulls back to this number or lower, then you can get in with your other positions. Okay, so let me just illustrate. So I have this graph here now. I'll tell you what's going on, right? And this graph, in fact, there will be nobody in class that would have experienced, would have had this kind of experience in Wonderland by the time I'm done explaining. So what's happening here? This graph shows you what would have happened or what will happen if you got into Wonderland at the time when the price was $10,000 for one unit of cryptocurrency. So in this case, person got in at $10,000 and the very, very next day, price dropped by 90%. Okay, so when you got in, the price was $10,000. The next day after you bought at $10,000, price dropped to $1,000. Now we're going to assume that the APY is 50,000% and it stays that way for 5 months, which is 150 days. Okay, now if you've been following Wonderland, the APY has never been this low. I think the lowest I've seen it is 56,000 or 57,000%, but I've never seen it as low as 50,000 since September when it was released. Okay, so those are our assumptions. So we're talking about someone who bought one time at a time when the price was $10,000, and that wasn't the case for anybody in the class. Okay, but the very next day, so let's say you bought it on, today is what, Wednesday. Let's say you bought it yesterday and the price was $10,000 yesterday. You woke up this morning and the price has dropped by 90% and the price is now $1,000, but the APY is still 50,000. Okay, so notice what's happening here. Even though the price is at $1,000, just by staying in this thing, right, for approximately 5 months, you've not only recovered your initial investment, you've made 20% profit. Okay, so that's the power of compounding. Okay, when you find a project that makes sense for the long term, which is why we say have a long-term mindset for this project. So again, I don't know anybody here who has experienced a 90% drop in price for Wonderland, right? Because the price hasn't fallen by 90% anyways. Okay, so I've used this extreme example to show you that if you're consistent and you hold on to your position, right, just give it time. Right, you will recover whatever you think you have lost, and you will make your profits. That's if you're still in the position. For people who were really, really early, you have already doubled at least you have already doubled what you did by getting in, because the price, excuse me, the price, I mean, in my own case, I got in about in a range between 4,500 and 6,000, right? And the price was almost at 9,000 for several weeks. So if you got in early, clearly you've doubled your position already. But even if you didn't and you feel you got in at all-time high, so again, I don't know anyone who got in at 10,000, right? Because price never quite got there. Right? I don't know anyone who has experienced a 90% drop in this project, right? Because price hasn't quite fallen that far. And we haven't even seen APYs this low since this project started. So why don't you believe in yourself for another 3 months, 4 months, if you've been in it for 1 or 2 months already, and see how this will pan out. So this is the kind of analysis you actually do before you get into the trade, because this is what builds your confidence. Right? Because if you're doing this when you're already in the trade, you will very likely liquidate your position and say, you know what, I don't understand this thing, I'm not doing it again. Let me go out and look for something else. But it's just mathematics and time, really, and some probability, right, that things will remain the way they are. But this is the kind of analysis you do before you get into a trade, and that's what gives you confidence to stay there for as long as you need to. All right. Okay, so that's the story about Wonderland. You can do a similar chart for Olympus. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, right? You will see a similar kind of reaction over time if you just stay the course and you're able to hold on to your trades. All right. One more thing I want to mention this time now about Olympus, and I'm really, really grateful to the students in class. 2 different students in class brought this to my attention. So let me show you what this is. Remember that Olympus is on the Ethereum network. Okay, and one of the reasons we we are wary about the Ethereum network is because of the gas fees, the transaction fees that you pay. Okay, so remember that we had this workaround where we used wrapped staked Olympus, okay, on the Avalanche network to indirectly participate in Olympus. Now, 2 different students independently in class saw this notice and brought it to my attention that wrapped staked Olympus will be replaced by something called GO. Okay, so if you're here and you still have wrapped staked Olympus, there's no problem. All you need to do is go to Trader Joe. All you need to do is go to Trader Joe and convert your wrapped staked Olympus into GO. So how would you do that? Let's go to trade. Okay, so on this trade menu on Trader Joe, where you have AVAX up here, you would look for wrapped staked Olympus. Okay, it's not showing up in Trader Joe, so let's come to CoinGecko and copy this contract address. Okay, then we can paste that. Excuse me. Okay. Not sure why this is not. Not sure why this is not loading. Let me see. I believe I am on the right network. Yes, I am. I should even still have it in my wallet. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now it's there. wrapped stake Olympus. So you're going from wrapped stake Olympus and you want to go to GOM, right? So governance home. Sorry, I'm looking for it on the Avalanche network. That's this one. Okay. All right. Okay. This thing is taking its time today. So just give it some time. Eventually, the token information will load, right? So this is GOM. So this is what you want to do, right? So you have wrapped stake home and you have GOM. So all you need to do is swap whatever wrapped stake home you have and swap it into GOM. Okay, that's what you need to do, and that's it. Once you've done that, swap all of it. Okay, as long as you have AVAX in your wallet, the transaction will go through and you will be fine. Okay, so I just thought to mention that, and thank you to the students who brought this to my attention. Okay, all right. So that's the second thing that you can do when the markets are not going anywhere, right? You really don't need to stress yourself, right? If you're in things like Wonderland and Olympus, just leave those things there and go do something else. This is what equity will do for you, all right? And you'll be the one looking back in a couple of months and be thanking yourself that you did, all right? Obviously, the third thing you can do when the markets are not going anywhere is you can yield farm. So we introduced DeFi Kingdoms 2 weeks ago. In my opinion, this is currently one of the best yield farms out there. There are not many yield farms that can give you a stable 500% APR in the current environment. Right? It will have to be a new project, and there are not many new reliable projects that have launched recently that can compete with the rewards from yield farming. Okay, so this is yield farming with on DeFi Kingdoms. If you are not familiar with DeFi Kingdoms, please go back and watch the videos again, where we've explained how you can add liquidity, use the guides, just practice this thing, and then see how you can put these things into practice. Okay, so I'm not going to talk too much about yield farming because we've already covered that in previous videos. What I would mention though is feel free to go to DeFi Llama. Okay, and that's all I would say about it. Feel free to go to DeFi Llama and look through these different major networks and just explore, you know, and ask yourself, what are these things about? Okay, we'll look at one of the new projects that has come up here before the end of the class, but just feel free to explore and ask yourself, what's this thing about? You know, how do you use it? You know, who's behind it? What problem is it trying to solve? Just get curious and you'll be surprised by what you find. So the same thing with yield farming, obviously, same thing. You can learn to play the DeFi Kingdoms game. Okay. In my own case, I have elected not to do that so that I can focus on other things. But clearly, this is a part that will appeal to some other people, you know, reading the guides, understanding how to play the game. I've told you and I showed you how, you know, you can basically acquire a hero, put it to work and use it to fish online and make money. I mean, it's now really up to you to take advantage of the opportunity and get paid to play and earn. All right. So that's what I would say there. Now, let me spend some time on the trade. So when it even looks like the markets are not going anywhere, you can still catch moves in the markets by trading. Okay. Now, in this particular area, this is where I think we've not fully maximized all the opportunities in this space. And shout out to the SP Master who, brought this into focus by just reminding us that there are a lot of opportunities in and around Swipecoin that we can use. That I wonder why you wouldn't take advantage of it. It's research, or let me put it this way. Like I have up here, right? Swipecoin is essentially a proven shortcut. So you have educators with plenty of experience who've been trading these cryptocurrencies for a long time, and they are deploying their experience in the form of trade ideas. Okay, whether it's a leverage trade idea, an exchange trade idea, or it's the Swipecoin scalper. These are different opportunities, different trade ideas that you have that you can take advantage of. So just the same way you went on the SP Master session this morning, right? And you see him do the analysis and then call the areas, and basically you're just taking advantage instead of you struggling on your own to do the analysis. Or in some cases you can do the analysis on your own, watch the way he does it and do your own analysis and then basically mimic, and that's how you will start growing. Or you went on Perak Master session this morning, you saw the way he did the analysis, called out areas. Swipecoin is a proven shortcut in the DCX space. So instead of you struggling on your own to do analysis, why don't you just understand how the experts are doing the analysis and you take those trade ideas? Now, last time we spoke, or maybe the class before that, I mentioned that something called Alt5 is coming. Okay, so now there's a launch date, it's tomorrow. Essentially what Alt5 is going to do for you is there's going to be different, it's going to expand the number of cryptocurrencies that you can trade. That means you can go long, you can go short, you can buy, you can sell. It's going to expand that group of cryptocurrencies beyond just Bitcoin, Ethereum. You're going to include Solana, Polkadot, Luna, I believe Tezos is also there. Okay, so just get ready to take advantage of all of these shortcuts, because people will be doing the analysis, and as they are doing the analysis, they will be giving you trade ideas that you can use, that will you can take advantage of, and that you can still grow your account even though it looks like the markets are not going anywhere. All right, so that's something you can do even in the current market environment. All right, let me come to the last part here, of the things that you can do, right? And this is the part I call keeping things simple. Okay, I think in my opinion, right, Anchor and Mirror are probably two of the most underestimated projects in all of crypto. Okay, and the reason I say that is, Anchor, as humble as it is, you just mentioned, okay, you get 20% a year in USD. The crypto space has so spoiled us that we begin to wonder, 20%, that's not life-changing money, but that's the same 20% that Warren Buffett aims to achieve year on year on an annual basis. And that's because he has he has the cash flow to back it up. Okay, because remember, if somebody has $1 million and you make 20% of that, that's $200,000. Okay, if somebody has $1,000 and makes 100% of $1,000, you've only made $1,000. So even though you made 100%, because you're starting with a small amount, right, you've not made anything close to the person who has made 20% of $1 million. Okay, so that's the power of cash flow. Okay, so with cash flow, you can really take advantage of things like Anchor and just slowly build your reserve over time. Remember, we are here for the long game. We're not here just for some quick amounts of money that you want to make. this week or the next week. You're here for the long game. So just keep that in mind. And remember, we showed that you can take advantage of the deposits you're making on Anchor in Mirror protocol. Okay, and even earn extra on top of that, which is really good. So the question now is, so what's this thing in the middle, right? Which we clearly haven't talked about in class before. All right, so let's look at what that is. And okay, so we're on the Terra ecosystem. Now, I don't know if you've been monitoring DeFi Llama, but things are constantly changing all the time. Now, remember what we said about how we use DeFi Llama, right? You might look at it now and say in the entire market, nothing really is happening. But when you break this thing up by ecosystem, you will see where money is going and where money is leaving, right? And remember what we've always said, that you need to be aware of the specific projects that seem to be attracting a lot of money to themselves. That's what you use DeFi Llama for. All right, so let's come back to the Terra ecosystem. You can see generally, this is trending up. So money is entering this ecosystem more or less, right? Now, I don't know if you were paying attention, but notice that several things in the Terra ecosystem, you see in the last 7 days, money has been, some money, not a lot, has been leaving some of the projects. So there's Anchor, which you all know, Anchor protocol. I think back when we first talked about the Anchor protocol, the total value locked in Anchor protocol was about 3 billion, 4 billion, somewhere like that. Okay, it has almost doubled. This is Lido, which we've talked about briefly in class. I'm not going to talk about today, but the project I really want to bring to attention this afternoon is something called Astroport. Okay, and if you're looking at this and you're wondering what is Astroport, let me just tell you that 3 weeks ago, Astroport was not on this list at all 3 weeks ago. Okay, so in less than 3 weeks, you have a new project that has launched on the Terra ecosystem and has not just, has not just launched, but has also gotten into the top 3 and has even gone beyond established projects like TerraSwap and Mirror on the Terra ecosystem. And there's over $1.3 billion locked in that project. So you need to ask yourself, what is Astroport? What is it about? Where did it come from? How did it just appear in this list? That's how you use DeFi Llama to figure out what is going on. Okay, so in fairness, Astroport has been rumored that it was going to launch for a very long time, and if you've just been following the trends over time, Astroport is supposed to be the way you will exchange one cryptocurrency for another in the Terra ecosystem. Okay, that is a decentralized exchange. Now, before Astroport showed up, the only decentralized exchange that we had in the Terra ecosystem was TerraSwap. Okay, that was the only one. But this one has shown up, and it has shown up with a lot of promise that people are bullish on the idea of this project. I mean, it's a project I like. It's something I'm just monitoring though. But I guess the real reason I'm mentioning this is, I don't know if anyone here would have qualified, but as the project launched and they provided an airdrop. Okay, so I know this airdrop was probably for those who were staking Luna sometime in September. So you might want to come to this link up here. Let me put this. All right, so I put a link in the Zoom chat. You can come to this link there, copy and paste your Terra address and see if you are eligible for an airdrop. Okay, if you were staking Luna back in September, if you were not, well, it doesn't hurt to try, right? Just put your Terra address here and see if you were eligible for an airdrop. I don't need to check because I claimed mine this morning and it was over $1,000. Again, another project with an airdrop in the Terra ecosystem. Okay, so just come here, put your Terra address here, and then see if you're eligible. And you have 81 days. If it turns out, if you put your address here and it turns out you're eligible, you can go ahead and claim it. Okay, so that's what Astroport is here. So beyond the project just giving you an airdrop, it's going to be a better way, more efficient way for you to exchange one cryptocurrency for another. The project just launched yesterday. Today is the 29th, right? Yeah, the project just launched yesterday. Last 2 weeks, they've been saying we are launching, we are preparing to launch. We finally launched yesterday, which is why the airdrop is available to claim today. From today for the next 90 days. So just go ahead and check and see if you're eligible or not for that airdrop. But that airdrop will be for Luna stakers and those who were long farming on the Mirror protocol. But this is probably as at September. So if you were not doing it in September, then it's unlikely that you will see any airdrop there. Okay. Now, so the point here is keep things simple. I know the temptation during this period is very strong for you to, want to force the issue. The market isn't going anywhere. Bitcoin is 47, then it goes to 49, then it goes to 50, then it comes back to 46. The markets are not really going anywhere, but you just hold on to the positions that you have. Understand the fundamentals, because that is what will give you the conviction to stay here for the long term. Okay. As you understand the fundamentals, you don't need to chase every opportunity. So forgive me sometimes if you reach out and you ask about some exotic project and it sounds as if I'm not interested. Okay. The point is, I'm happy that you can find out new things yourself, but I don't necessarily have to be in it. You just build your own conviction, and if you're convinced, go ahead. There's no problem. I'm happy to give you my opinion about what I see, but don't look for validation from me, because we're all learning in this thing together, right? So don't look for validation. Just seek education, and once you get the knowledge yourself, you're able to organize it and you're able to utilize it. You will see the results in your account. Okay. All right. So that's what I wanted to just share with you this afternoon. Don't feel like you need to force the markets to do something that they are not doing. Okay. This month, even as slow as you think this month has probably been, okay, it's been the second best month for me in cryptocurrencies. And that's saying a lot. That's saying a lot when, practically nothing is happening in the market. So don't force the markets to do anything. Hold on to your positions. Hopefully you learn something about how to manage your positions in Wonderland and Olympus if you're still in it. If you're not, well, learn the lessons that these things are fundamentally good projects and you can stay in them. Okay, and that's what I wanted to share today. So let me see if we have any questions in chat. before I wrap this up today. Okay. Any questions? Oh, everybody is busy checking Astroport to see if they have airdrops. Okay. All right. Okay. If you don't have any questions, let me see. I know the chairman was preoccupied. Okay, so let me turn it back to Chairman. Chairman, are you there, sir?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Thank you for another massive value. I'm checking my Astroport also. I've brought out my book of bookages to log into my Terra. That free $1,000 wouldn't be bad. What a way to end the year. So thank you so much for the value that you bring in, day out. And I'm very sure everybody's maximizing this value that you are getting.